Batman's Rogues Gallery is one of the most complex and iconic in comic book history. Each villain isn't just a foe. They're psychological reflections of Batman himself. Today, we're going to dive into psychodynamic theory and explore how defense mechanisms explain the dark minds of Gotham's most feared villains. And by understanding them, we might just get a deeper look into the mind of Batman too. Welcome to Unmasked. To really understand Batman's villains, let's start with a quick overview of psychodynamic theory. Developed by Sigmund Freud, this theory focuses on the unconscious mind, our buried thoughts and desires, often shaped by trauma or internal conflict. Freud proposed that defense mechanisms are tools our minds use to protect ourselves from emotional pain. Batman's villains are essentially walking, talking representations of these defense mechanisms, each one revealing aspects of Batman's own inner conflict and trauma. Our first subject is, of course, the Joker, one of the most infamous villains in comic book history. The Joker operates under a defense mechanism we call denial. Denial is what we use when reality is too painful or unpleasant to accept. So we ignore it or pretend it's not there. The Joker refuses to accept the order and logic of the world. To him, life is a joke, a chaotic, meaningless ride. Instead of confronting his own pain and trauma, he projects it outward, turning Gotham into his personal theater of chaos. But here's where things get interesting. Joker, in some ways, represents Batman's own repressed urges. While Batman uses order and justice to control his trauma, Joker rejects all control, mocking Batman's need to keep himself in line. It's almost as if Joker is Batman's own darkness, laughing back at him. Next, we have Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin. Penguin uses displacement to cope with feelings of inadequacy and social rejection, projecting those emotions onto Gotham itself. In childhood, he was bullied and ostracized for his appearance, and as an adult, he directs all that pent-up resentment into his obsession with power and status. Penguin's wealth and crime empire are his way of compensating for a life where he felt weak and mocked. He's overcompensating for his insecurities by surrounding himself with luxury, status, and power, even as he resents the very society that drove him to crime. Batman, in his own way, displaces his trauma as well, turning the pain of his parents' death into a relentless crusade against crime. Harvey Dent, Two-Face, is a tragic example of the defense mechanism known as splitting. Splitting is when someone can't reconcile good and bad qualities in themselves or others. Everything is black and white, right or wrong. For Harvey, the coin decides all. It's the only way he can cope with his fractured psyche. Dent was once Gotham's White Knight, a crusader for justice, just like Batman. But after his scarring, he couldn't reconcile his ideals with the reality of his pain and betrayal. Two-Face's coin symbolizes his struggle. Every decision is both good and bad, reflecting the internal split Batman could face if he ever loses his moral compass. Two-Face, in many ways, is Batman's biggest what if. Then there's Dr. Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow. Scarecrow relies on projection, taking his own deep-seated fears and insecurities and projecting them onto others through his fear-toxing. Scarecrow forces others to experience terror, yet ironically, he's one of Gotham's most fearful souls. Scarecrow intellectualizes his emotions, analyzing fear scientifically rather than facing his own. And Batman too has a complex relationship with fear. He controls and manipulates it to fight crime, but he's haunted by his own fears, especially the fear of losing those he cares about. Scarecrow shows us what Batman could become if he let his fear consume him. Victor Freeze, or Mr. Freeze, demonstrates isolation of effect. He separates himself from his emotions to survive the pain of his wife's illness. Victor's heart has grown as cold as his ice gun. He's willing to do anything for a chance to save her, and in the process, he's lost his humanity. Batman isolates his emotions too, but not in the same extent. Freeze's story is a warning about what can happen when we become too numb to our pain. Batman's mission is his way of keeping his own pain from consuming him. But Freeze shows us the cost of becoming truly detached. Selina Kyle, or Catwoman, embodies sublimation. She channels her rebellious nature and thrill-seeking desires into high-stakes heist and a life of crime. She's not simply a thief. She's a free spirit in a society that tried to control her. Catwoman is also Batman's repressed desire for freedom, spontaneity, and connection. Batman suppresses these feelings, but Catwoman tempts him to embrace his inner desires. She challenges his strict moral code, embodying the emotional release Batman secretly craves. Poison Ivy uses rationalization to justify her actions, excusing her crimes as necessary for nature's sake. She views herself as Earth's avenger, and anything she does in the name of the environment is to her justified. She also uses reaction formation. Her deep love for nature turns into intense hatred for humanity. Batman shares her desire to protect, but Ivy's approach shows him the danger of going too far, of losing sight of humanity in a relentless pursuit of justice. Bane, the man who broke the bat, operates through overcompensation. He grew up weak and powerless, but now he's a symbol of physical and mental strength. Bane's entire identity is built on undoing his past vulnerability. He also practices undoing, attempting to erase any trace of weakness by defeating Batman. To him, Batman is the ultimate challenge, and conquering him would mean erasing his own weaknesses. Bane is what Batman could become if he let strength and vengeance define him. Finally, we have Ra's al Ghul, who embodies idealization. He sees himself as the one true savior, willing to do what's necessary to save the world. But when Batman rejects his vision, Ra's switches to devaluation, seeing Gotham as unworthy. Ra's challenges Batman with a vision of control and permanence, the temptation to impose order on the world by force. Batman rejects it, knowing it's a line he cannot cross. So there you have it, Batman's villains, analyzed through psychodynamic theory. Each one holds up a mirror, forcing Batman to confront the parts of himself he fears the most. They're more than just villains. They're reflections of his inner battle, and through these confrontations, Batman defines who he is and who he refuses to become. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. I'll see you next time.